Charter Local Edition, Brad Pomerance here. She's back. She's Penny Fraumeni. She is the president of the Hacienda La Puente School Board. And I want to speak with you about Hacienda La Puente. You had been a principal there for many years.
30 years.
Yes. And so I want to get a sense from you, if I were to walk around the campuses today, what era would the buildings resemble?
Okay, well, most of them were built in the 40s.
Oh, really?
And 50s, and the majority were actually built in the early 60s.
Okay.
So you'd see a lot of brick,
Right.
a lot of mortar,
Right.
small windows, not much else that is high level of anything.
So I would presume that moving into the 21st century hasn't quite happened yet.
No, not so much.
No upgrades over the last few years?
What we've been able to do for the last 2 years is we've spent about $65 million, Brad, as a district to beautify our schools.
Okay.
We have new fencing, new paint. When it hasn't been aired, we put air conditioning in.
From where did you get that money?
Actually, it was in our reserves. That was in our reserves, and this was a big bone of contention when I came on the board. We had all this money. So we also settled a major lawsuit with the City of Industry, so that helped us.
Okay.
And we took a loan from the state, very low interest loan, but we
Okay.
did all of these things, including building the new track and fields at Los Altos and Wilson, which I'm sure you already know about.
You've told
and
us.
we're working on the pool, the very large aquatics complex at La Puente High School.
So you've been able to do some nice projects.
Oh, yes.
And $65 million
Right.
is not chump change.
Oh, no.
But in the final analysis, more needs to be done.
Absolutely.
And so just this year, it's a pretty bold move. You and your colleagues on your school board decided you wanted to go to your voters.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, talk to us about the thought process about going to your voters. Oftentimes it's years in the making. We're going to go to our voters in 5 years, or we're going to plan this out. No, that didn't happen this time around. What happened this time?
Well, you know, I'm a mover and a shaker.
You
and I
are.
have a board that's a mover and shaker board.
You were a principal, so
And
you know,
it's pretty impatient.
Right.
And we're all pretty impatient. We've been talking about running a bond for about 2 years.
Okay.
To basically move our classrooms up to the 21st century.
Right.
We've done all the stuff we can do on the campuses with the digital marquees and SBAC labs for testing computers. But our classrooms, immediately serving students like Old Century. And we've visited other school districts where they have modernized their classrooms, and you go in and you go, our kids deserve better than we've got.
And I have to tell you, there is something about your surroundings, your environment. It matters.
It matters.
I hate to say that, but if you're in a new, fresh building,
Absolutely.
it doesn't matter how great that teacher
No.
is. There's something about that freshness.
Yeah. So this board, like I said, we're movers and shakers. We decided we're going forward. So we did a survey of our community to see if we could pass it, because you need 55% for facilities bonds. And this is basically facilities, not personnel, anything like that.
Specifically.
It's specifically facilities, 21st century classrooms, and school safety.
And so,
Measure BB.
right, and let's talk about it. It will be on the ballot in Hacienda La
It will.
Puente, November 8th. $148 million general obligation bond.
Right.
21st century classrooms, upgrade computers, hardware, expand wireless, upgrade classrooms, student safety, campus security, repair athletic facilities.
All of that.
Yeah, repairs, upgrades. I mean, you're on it.
Right. And listen, imagine a classroom 21st century where you walk in, every kid either has a laptop or a pad in their hands. Teachers walking around mobile, all with the pad that she's teaching from.
Can I tell you, my daughters are fortunate in that they go to a school that uses technology in the way you're describing. What's amazing to me, what they'll do is, so the kids have their iPads, the teacher will ask the entire class a question. The students will answer it right there.
And she gets immediate response on hers.
And then you see what everyone said on the
whiteboards. Right.
I mean,
and even the furniture, furniture is all modular. It fits together in pods, which we want kids to work in groups. That's the future.
Right.
That's what they're going to do in industry, working in groups.
Right.
And all on these new cabinetry are the whiteboards. They slide. And everything is digitalized and right on those whiteboards. So everyone can see what everyone's doing, and the teacher knows the student response immediately. Do I need to reteach that?
Exactly.
Or don't I? Can I
Exactly.
move on? And now maybe they all got it, so we give them a challenge question, or we do something for the gifted kids. Or we know right then, we got 10 kids didn't get this. I'm pulling them to the back table, and I'm going to reteach it back there while these other kids move on.
What I understand about this bond as well is some of the money can then be leveraged.
Absolutely.
Explain the leveraging.
Well, you know, what do you mean?
So as I understand it, So as I understand it, oftentimes what the state or the federal government will say
that's
is
what
that
I thought you were referring to.
passed a local measure.
Right. Okay, at the state level, there's a big bond measure on the state ballot.
We'll talk about
If
that.
it passes, then we're eligible for matching money
Right.
for our bond measure. Now, 16 years ago, we passed that $1 million, $100 million bond.
Right.
Okay, and it was kind of a fiasco that
really?
happened. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of oversight for that bond. So that, I believe that's why we've waited so many years to try another one.
And there is oversight in this measure.
Absolutely.
I want to talk about the state measure.
Okay.
Because I think it's relevant that when voters in your district go to the polls, not only will they see president, vice president, senator, Congress, Assembly, Senate, 17 state measures, county measures, they're going to see two measures dealing with school construction. The state measure, $9 billion, $7 billion for K-12, and Hacienda La Puente.
Absolutely. And we're praying they go yes on both.
Right, and see that, but
because we're eligible for partial funding from the state bond. We used some of our funding back 16 years ago, but we're still eligible for a portion again.
But
matching.
I saw recently, for example, that some of the editorial boards are coming out against the state bond for reasons that may not be obvious right off the bat. One, for example, because of concerns about contracting and construction at the state level. That has no impact on Hacienda La Puente.
No.
But look, I mean, will voters make that distinction?
Well, I'm praying that our local unions, and we have PLAs with our local unions. The electricians
project
have already
labor
been
agreements.
at our board meeting. The electricians, we know the plumbers, we know the construction people in our district that live in our community will be the ones that are doing this work because we have agreements with them, and rightly so. We want to put our people to work.
Of course.
If they're voting for this bond for their kids, then let's put them to work. We feel strongly about that.
But how do you build on that coalition? You have the state bond, which I've read a recent poll. It's running ahead, but not by much. I don't know if it will hit the margin it needs to. What do? Do you run a campaign that's unified with the state bond? Do you run a No,
we're running a campaign for Measure BB, and we want to convince our voters that this is for our classrooms. This is what we need. The state bond, if it passes, great, it will help us. But right now, we need a $148 million bond to do what we've already promised to do. Now, we ran community meetings, about 15 to 20 of them, where we got input from everyone in the community, teachers, administrators, kids. We had a lot of students involved. Told us, what are your priorities? Guess what their priorities were? Technology and 21st century classrooms.
Which is
finishing those classrooms with technology. Third was school safety. So we decided, okay, we got to put a piece of it into school safety, including protecting all this equipment we're going to put in these classrooms. And then way down, but it was fifth, was finishing off the stadiums. We thought that would be number one. Funniest thing, it wasn't number one, it was down the list. But we're going to try our hardest somewhere down the road to finish off our brand new track and fields that we have going right now.
Her name is Penny Fraumeni. She is the president of the Hacienda La Puente School Board. She is here supporting Measure BB in her community. My name is Brad Pomerance. You're watching Charter Local Edition.